This is Safety Bri, your number one safety geek. Why do we have the behaviors that we do? Superheroes in the workplace, right? All of those things that go into making you an effective safety manager. I love what we do. Motivation, learning, teaching, training, teamwork. I geek out over that just as much as I do safety. Hello, all my safety friends. Welcome to the Safety Geek podcast. Today, we are talking about how to get employees involved in safety. One of my favorite things to talk about. My name is Bri. I am your number one safety geek. If this is the first time you are joining us, welcome. I love talking to safety people. Be sure that you check out our Facebook group. I will tell you, my friends, I did something this week, which I kind of do probably once a year or so, and you've probably done it too, but I rearranged my office. I moved my desk around. I have this amazing view out my window, which used to be out to my side, but now it's like directly in front of me. And I did it because you know how I do the Facebook Lives every week in our Facebook group? I wanted to have some better light to do those videos. So if you're watching my Facebook Lives, you'll see a different background. That's just because I moved my desk around. That's all. And I love it. I love doing that. You know, when you move things around, when you change things up, it gives you a new perspective. So anytime you're starting to feel stuck, take a step back and change your viewpoint. And that could be as easy as moving your desk where you're facing one way to facing another. It could be, taking a different drive to work. I don't know. But I will tell you, it is so motivating to me and just really, really makes me excited for what I do just by moving my desk. And it was a lot of work. I'll tell you what, it took me like 5 hours to rearrange my whole office area. So sometimes it is worth taking that breather and taking that step back. So anytime you're starting to feel stuck or frustrated or kind of like, I know when I was a safety manager, I would have times where it just made me so tired to constantly get pushed back, right? That you're trying to do the right thing and the management team is just pushing you back and you start to feel discouraged. And if that's the way you're feeling, it's okay. We all go through that, but change your perspective. And just move things around and see what it's like. So that's what I did this week. That's my little update of what's going on in my life. But anyway, it doesn't really have anything to do about employee involvement. But let's get on to our topic. All right. So I love talking about employee engagement. And that's really what involvement is about, right? So when you get employees involved in safety, you're getting them engaged in safety. And it's so funny. I got a comment this week on one of my posts on Facebook that said, there's no such thing as like getting people energized in safety. It's a necessary evil. And I'm like, I felt so bad for the commenter because I'm like, you haven't had a very good safety manager. So no, you can be energized. You can be excited about a safety meeting. That is what employee involvement does. When you start involving employees in your safety program, then they do get more engaged, they do get more energized, they do get more excited about safety. So the idea is not just to involve them mandatorily involve them or voluntold them. You want to get them to want to be involved in the safety program. So what engagement ultimately means is that you have a positive relationship between the employer and the employee. So engagement is not just involved in safety. Engagement is engagement in the employment and in the business as a whole. They're enthusiastic about their work. They actually take action to improve the workplace, whether it be for safety or quality or food safety or for productivity and efficiency. An engaged team helps improve the workplace because they're enthusiastic about their work. They start showing loyalty to their employer and they have a positive relationship. So the answer to the question of how do I get my employees involved in safety, because I do get that question quite often, is how do I get employees involved? How can I include them in my safety program? Step one is getting them engaged in your workplace. And getting them engaged doesn't necessarily mean just safety, okay? So I have 3 different ways that you can get your employees engaged in the workplace, and where you, as a safety manager, can have an impact on getting them engaged in your workplace. So step 1 is that engagement actually starts with positive relationships. So you can't expect anybody to help you or improve your safety program if you haven't cultivated a relationship with them. So this is getting to know your employees on a personal level. And I don't know where you eat lunch every day. I don't know what you do on your break times, but my experience has shown me that most management or members of management will take a break together, or they will eat lunch together, or they will go off and have lunch somewhere else, or they will shut their office door and sit at their desk and have lunch. Meals are such a great way to build relationships. It should be part of your job that you actually have to eat lunch with the employees. That is something that you can definitely build relationships with. And you should make sure, like, I went into this break room one time and the management team was like, yeah, we eat lunch with the employees every day. So I was like, oh, that's awesome. So I go in there and it's like, no, there was a management table in the break room and all the employees were like on the other side of the room, way far away from their management team. So what they need to do is actually not sit with each other, but go sit with a group of employees. And we're not talking, you got to be there for the whole hour. While you're eating, sit with the employees. We're talking 15 minutes, right? So when you do that, that makes them see you as a human being. You don't talk about work. You just talk about whatever's going on. You could talk about sports. You can talk about the weather. You could talk about weekend plans or how their weekend was last week. You could talk about movies that are coming out or popular TV shows, anything that interests them. You don't talk about work with them. You don't talk about the safety agenda with them. What you're trying to do at this point is just build a relationship with them. So that way it's positive. You talk to them like you would a close acquaintance, not necessarily like your best friend, but a close acquaintance. Somebody, I have a running group that I run with. I don't necessarily, or I used to run with, sorry, I can't run anymore, but I had this running group that I ran with. And yes, I had a very close-knit group of friends within that running group that I hung out with, that they were like my besties. But there were 20 other people in the group that I would just talk to. We weren't friends. We didn't share phone numbers, that type of thing. But we would have conversations with it. It's that type of relationship you want to have with these employees. If it gets too close, then you have, some other issues with labor relations and all of that good stuff. But your goal is to create this positive relationship with the employees. You should understand, what their life is like. You should know what they did last weekend and what they plan on doing this weekend. You should possibly know their favorite TV shows. You should know whether or not they have kids, right? And if their kids are in any sports. These are the things you need to know, so that way you're seeing them as a human being and they realize that you do actually care about them. All right, so that's step 1. Now, once you've actually cultivated this positive relationship, you can move on into team building. And what team building is where you get employees to work with a member of management on a project together. It could be any project. It is a problem. It has to be a problem that employees have identified that you're trying to solve. So it could be like, as you're having lunch, somebody happens to mention that machine number 5 just doesn't have the same output as machine number 4. So you can say, hey, I'm going to grab 2 or 3 employees and we're going to try to figure this out and say, hey, I heard that this is happening. And then you guys have just a brainstorming session together in the break room and you get other managers involved if needed. But the idea is to get these employees to be working together as a team with the management to solve a problem that another employee or one of them has identified. Right? So what this results in is you're getting employees to work together and you're solving a business problem. You're getting them involved. And then the engagement part is because you've actually responded to something from that positive relationship that you've built with them. All right. So make sure that you get multiple employees involved, not just one. That way, what'll happen is this spreads that you're actually doing this, that you actually involve employees in your decision-making process. And then make sure that you're listening to them and that you're basically there to help them get their job done better, right? That is easier for them, that makes their life better. That is the goal. Not necessarily is it better for the business, it's better for them. All right. Now, the last step is appreciation. In order to get engaged employees, you have to truly appreciate them for being friendly, for being kind, for being a hard worker, for opening the door for you, for coming in every day, for showing up on time, for allowing you to sit there with them at lunch. Whatever it happens to be, you truly appreciate them. You are thankful for them. You shake their hand. You look in their eyes and say thank you. Possibly give them a hug if you're a hugging type of person. I don't know. I had some employees that were huggers or that I felt comfortable hugging and other employees that I didn't. I don't know where that came from. So it might be some vibe that they put off because I love to hug people, but some people are not huggers, right? And that's fine. But like to this day, I'll see a couple of employees and my greeting to them is a hug. I don't know why. But anyway, either way works. The idea is that you want to make them feel seen because that's what people want more than anything. They want to feel seen and they want to feel listened to. And if they know that you're doing that, it's going to make them more engaged in your workplace. So many, many years ago, and I might have mentioned this already, but many, many years ago, I went to a Tony Robbins seminar. I believe I was like in my early 20s. So I got to see Tony Robbins when he was just starting out or when he was very, very new in his career. And he shared this trick about a penny in your pocket and about appreciating people and thanking people. And if you have a problem doing that, like if that's not that it's difficult for you to say thank you, but it's difficult for you to remember to say thank you. Right? Because we're not talking about, hey, you're a miser and you're just a grumpy person and you don't say thank you. There's a lot of people out there that, yes, they are truly appreciative, but they forget to share that appreciation. So if that's you, one of the tricks that Tony had shared was that you put 5 pennies in one pocket. And every time you thank somebody, truly thank them, shake their hand, make eye contact. Hey, I really appreciate that you show up for work every single day and that I can count on you. I've noticed it and it's amazing. Let me shake your hand, right? You move the penny from one pocket to the other pocket. So let's say you start them all off in the right pocket and then the goal is to move them all to the left pocket by the end of the day. 5 pennies. So you just have to do it 5 times a day. You might want to increase that to 10 pennies depending on how many employees we're talking about, but that is something that you can do to remind yourself to be truly appreciative of your employees. And it's so simple. And I'll tell you, a thank you goes such a long way. And once you have done these 3 things where you have built this positive relationship, you've team built with your employees to help a problem that they identified, you are showing them appreciation every single day. You are now ready to ask them to be involved in your safety program. And here's the trick, right? You can ask them to be in your safety committee. You can ask them to be in your accident review committee, your mentor. You can ask them to mentor a new employee. You can ask them to review a policy or procedure. You can ask them to coach other employees, right? And to speak up when they see somebody doing something unsafe. You can ask them to conduct an inspection or to identify hazards and report them or to be a compliance area specialist. You can ask them all of these things. But the key to getting them to say yes is 1, you have to have already built that engagement and that positive relationship. And 2, you have to make it really easy for them to say yes. Meaning it has to be a short, simple task. Something that is small So that way they feel like, hey, it's going to take me 15, 20 minutes. Sure, I'll do that for you. But if you're asking them like, hey, I've got this stack of policies and it's going to take us all afternoon to do a review of these policies, or here's the HASCOM book and I want you to review every single SDS in the place and it's going to take an hour, they're going to say no. But if you go, hey, I need some help reviewing this one policy, it's going to take 15 minutes of your time, they are more likely to say yes. And what's really cool about this is that when you do short, simple tasks to get them involved, you can actually involve more employees because you have 20 policies. So instead of having one employee review all of them with you, you can have 20 employees review them with you. So you're getting more and more involvement in your safety program. And the more people that are involved, the better your safety culture. You see how this is all tying together, guys? I mean, it's just amazing to me. I'm sorry. I geek out over safety culture and employee involvement so freaking much. So anyway, that's how it all works. So just a quick recap. Remember, engagement starts with positive relationships. All right. Once you have those positive relationships, work to solve a problem as a team, a problem that they have identified. And step 3, truly appreciate them. Be thankful for them and share your appreciation with them. Alrighty, my friends, quick episode today. I think you deserved it because last week was a bit meaty, but I want to thank you for listening to today's podcast all the way to the end. I do truly appreciate you. I answer all of your comments, all of your questions, all of your emails. I love getting every single one of them. So thank you. Thank you, my friends. And I will talk to you next week. Bye-bye. You know what? I have a hunch that you have a BSF, a best safety friend, who would love to know about this show. Well, don't keep it to yourself. Sharing is caring. Stop what you're doing right now and forward this show to them. They will thank you. And don't forget, you can check out the show notes and links for this week's show at www.asksafetygeek.com. Chat with you next week. Bye.